What I want to introduce is the website assignment, which is going to be the construction of a website as a portfolio for your work done in multimedia, in the multimedia courses. Now, I started to introduce this and then I stopped because Google has been working to change their Google Sites interface. If I go in and look at the website that I created and Multimedia 1 has been using as a resource, my multimedia page has this interaction. It kind of looks like a really stripped down kind of Word document, but with a bunch of other options hidden underneath the heading or the header. And this is it was a completely functional way in which to interact and to develop a website. I had a lot of great functionality, but it was time consuming in that a lot of the features are really hidden in this this workspace. And so I don't want to support this anymore. It is still available, and I can show you how to get to it. You actually need to get to it by typing in sites.google.com, and I can see all the sites that I used in that old interface. And if I click on them, I can still interact with them in that old interface. But what I would like to show, and would probably recommend that most of you start to use, is this new interface, which has a lot more visible and what seems like a lot more friendly way in which to interact and to build a simple web page, which is all we're really after. My phone's beeping. And so what we can take a look at here is how to get started and how to use this interface to create a really simple web page that I think can look professional, but also support the goal that is to build an online portfolio for your work. So the first thing is when you go to the Google page and you go through your Google login, the same login you'd use for Gmail and your Google Drive, the difference now is that the Google Drive is hosting your web pages, your websites. So what you can do is come into New, just like you would go to a new Google Doc or a new Google spreadsheet or slide, Google Drawings, those other options. Google Sites is now listed at the bottom of those options. And you can click this and start a new web page. I'll click one here and open it up. I'm going to have to go back. I think I have two of these open. And it'll give you a web page from which you can start to edit and start to create your own site. I'm going to start talking about this. I had two open, sorry. I want to address this with the page that I just started playing around with because it's really quite easy. I think you'll be fine navigating it, but a few comments. First things, I would label my document just like you do in the Google Drive for anything else, or actually anytime you create a new document, whether it's online or on your computer, you should title that file. So I just titled this student page sample. That is how it will be labeled in your Google Drive. That's how you'll find it. Whatever you need to stay organized in your Google Drive and get back to this, that's where it'll be. That's how it will be saved. Underneath that, you can give your page a title, and this will just be a small bit of text in the upper corner. And usually you try and sync this with the URL, but that's not always going to be possible, and we'll see that in just a moment. So I titled this student portfolio, and then in the center of the screen, probably a good place to put your name or initials or something that identifies whose this is. And in this case, I just put a small bit of text that says multimedia portfolio. One thing that's nice is when you click and interact with a location, it gives you a banner or a small banner that gives you the things that you might want to adjust or commonly want to adjust as soon as you are active in that field. So in this case, where the student's name would go, I can change the size of that text by changing its role. In this case, this is my title, so it's going to be big and bold. And then below it, where I wanted this smaller element, I put it in as subheading. So I had highlighted it and I changed its role, which is, in this case, a subheading. Also, to the next of it is the justification. Next to the right of it is the justification, whether you want it center, left, or right aligned, or spread across your document, actually. So there's a couple options here. In this case, I just left mine centered. And if this is not your primary page, probably a very useful thing is to link this. So if you clicked on this, it would take you back to your primary or your home page, which is what you'll see in most websites. So if I was on a second page of my website, I could click my header and it would take me back to the home of my series of web pages. So it gives you the ability to link back or link forward to another website. Down below this is an opportunity to change that background image. There's a whole bunch of defaults in a gallery here. It also gives you the ability to upload different images. You're probably going to want something long and narrow to cover the top of your website. But you can also use this then to search and to navigate through your photos and or other documents as well. So there's a really easy way in which to change the background image. A lot of options that are much more user-friendly than what I've been doing in the past, and was why I was holding off on this option. To the right is your header type, and this basically is going to speak to how large of a space your header is going to have. So a large banner, an average banner, or just the title, which is a much smaller option. I would probably have to drop my font size down because this is significantly narrower. I'm just going to go back to banner where I started. And another nice feature is in the lower right-hand corner is there's a feature that it will adjust for readability. So when you first create or edit this, especially if you edit the color, it will modify the background image, lighten and darken it to provide contrast between your text and your background image, which is a really useful tool. In this case, I also want to address one other thing you can change, and that is the theme of your document. So there's actually 3 locations on the right-hand side, the navigation space on the right-hand side of your screen. Themes is one of them. And you can simply click through and adjust the themes, and that's just going to be the way in which your text, mostly your text, appears, along with some other line work, line art that just frames your text, becomes available. I had it on Diplomat, and so that's one option. And even under Diplomat, there are several. In this case, there's 3 different options for the way in which your Diplomat theme would appear. So there's a lot of nice customization without it becoming really heavy and difficult to work with. So there's several themes here you can choose through, and this is primarily going to speak to your font that is on your screen, and also your text appearances and framing. So I'm just going to leave it here on Diplomat. That's where I started. I'm going to go back to the Insert tab. So once you have your heading identified, you can come down the page and you can go to, in my case, I want to create a new heading for the meat and potatoes of this, which is going to be your video that you must post. So in this case, I titled my first space, gave my first little header here, stop motion for Multimedia 1, or from Multimedia 1, so I give myself a bit of text. That was made available by clicking the text option. I actually have a second one that just popped in below it. So you could give yourself a header or create a little secondary banner, and then you can also go in and type as much as you want. In this case, I have a second text box that I just spaced in here, but I'm going to delete this. So I just have a banner. Inside that banner, there's a little palette to the left-hand side, so you can change some of its styling, and you can also add a photo to that. I guess a secondary banner space is essentially what I'm creating. And directly below that is where I'm going to speak quickly to the options for posting and hosting video. A few things you need to know about web-based video is that it must be hosted in a location designed for video. So my original video in this case is actually my old Steam video, an advertisement for our summer class that I had offered. This video is actually hosted inside my Google Drive. So on the right-hand side of the screen, under the Insert option, I can post just about anything from my Google Drive. In this case, if I scroll down, I can see I have some spreadsheets. I have a drawing that I created. I also have a Google form. I can post all of these things to my web page. Not that I'm particularly interested in posting those items. I also can scroll down and find whatever is in my Google Drive. In this case, I posted a video, and so I can link that video straight to my page by selecting it, and at the bottom, clicking Insert. So I can insert that video file from the Google Drive. Now, the Google Drive is a great web-based storage platform. The problem is it's not optimizing your video for play on any internet-ready device. What I mean by that is this will play on a computer, but it probably will not play on your iPad or your iPhone. It might play on some other smart devices, but it's hit or miss. This video is not optimized for all devices. This is simply housed inside of my Google Drive, and that is where I'm referencing the file from. The second and probably better option, I'm going to accept both of these because I'll be watching all these through my computer when I go to give a grade for it, but that's option one. You could post your video to your Google Drive, and then you could share it onto your website and reference it on your website. The second is to go through YouTube. Now, YouTube it will optimize your video for play on just about any device, any web-based device. So if you accessed your website from your iPhone or from your iPad, this video is optimized and should play on your device, regardless of the platform you're on. And in this case, this holiday video was created earlier this year, and I posted it to YouTube. So I went to my YouTube channel, posted it there, and I now use the link. So I have that link copied. I pasted it, and now I have this holiday video able to be inserted, selected and inserted into my web page as well. So they're both ways in which to essentially link out to a location that is able to house my video file. One is optimized for all devices, YouTube, which everyone knows about, and then your Google Drive is a secondary way to do this. It all is dependent on what you're most comfortable with, where you're comfortable putting your video out to. They both upload in a very similar fashion. YouTube just takes the time to optimize it for play on other devices. So probably a good way to create this site is to give yourself a banner for each of your assignments. In this case, I have a fall sports edit. In this case, it would probably be football, and then link the next video down below it. Pretty simple website or process to build your website, and a whole bunch of options to look through on the insert portion. If you want to create or manage multiple pages, for instance, maybe you just wanted your stop motion on a page and all of your individual assignments on separate pages, that's an option as well. You can go through and create several pages, this being your home page, and then underneath it navigate to second and third pages. That's an additional option. Just changes I guess it just extends the amount of work you have over several pages. The last thing is you need to publish your page. So when you click on this, it'll give you the option to title that document, and title that document's URL, I guess, is what I'm after. So you can create your pages, and then when you go to publish, you'll have to try and develop a URL. If I type in student portfolio, which this is a very generic title. It's not specific enough, and it's going to tell you that it's already been taken. So you're probably going to need to incorporate your name or some initials into your portfolio title, but I would try and keep it as concise as possible. I try not to have to select a whole bunch of random letters or numbers, just so that way it's something you can type in and access if you want to view it or share it with somebody else, or maybe you want to use something similarly in the future. If you're going to share that with someone who's potentially going to hire you to do some work for them, you'd like to have something you can navigate to very easily. So once you find one that works, if I add some numbers to the end of this, 1, 2, 3 is probably not going to work, or I added my name to this, Siggins portfolio, Siggins student portfolio, a little bit longer than I want, but I could click to publish this. I'm not going to do that because I'm not interested in actually putting this out onto, I guess, to have public access of. So this is hopefully a quick walkthrough and provides you enough information to get started. And this is just as new to me, so I think we'll work through this together. But good luck. I'm looking for a student portfolio containing all of your multimedia assignments or work.